Hey y'all, Jampaw here. Just finished up a project for a friend of mine. He asked me to make about a 24-inch frame inside diameter for a painting he was making, and shaped like the sun. He kind of gave me an example from an online 3D object for the frame, and it wouldn't have worked out as ordered, so I designed my own. You can see here how I did that. I used Onshape as software, online 3D design software. It's free. I highly recommend it. And essentially, I just drew some diagonal parts and some wavy parts, and then I copied them and rotated them, and I figured out how many would fill a circle and look proportional. And then I got the thickness down, and in doing so I tried some new stuff. I learned to loft between lines, and that's how I got some of those angled uh, sides on each of those, and those interlap, and then I mirrored it. I had originally planned on making it both sides would be machined, so it would taper from both the inside and the outside. And it ended up getting a little bit chippy, is the word I would use. So I did not. I basically just made it one-sided, and the back was flat. Here, what I'm doing, I'm exporting this 3D object into an STL. You could 3D print an STL, but I imported it into my CAD/CAM software that I use on my 3D router, and this is just the raw file, so that shows you what it exports. And then I go to my 3D software that I use for my router, and I import that some 3D image in there, and then there's some tools in there that I use to trace it to get an outside line. You can barely see it right there, and then other lines I generate myself. I draw these little indexing holes. That's how I locate it on the table. I originally planned on flipping this part and doing the back side, so you want to have index holes so it's in a known location when you turn it over. Ended up not using that, but it was a nice way to keep it firmly affixed to the table so it wasn't moving around in the clamps, that type of stuff. I also did a flattening. The circular pattern there on the top is for flattening the face of the thing, and then you can see where I rough out and there's two moves, basically a roughing pass that will kind of just get a lot of the meat out of there. You do that with an end mill, and then the final pass I did with a half-inch round over, and this is kind of the simulation of it. This is the roughing portion, and it comes out. You can actually see it's pretty rough, and there'll be some pictures. Now it's going into the smoothing cycle. I ended up doing that smoothing a couple times. I was unsure how much material it was going to take out, and I tried it with a 1/4 inch bit. That did not work out well, so I switched to the half-inch and just did half. These are some of the pictures from when I built the stock. It's about 1 5/8 material oak, and cut it in 8 sections using the radial arm saw. And what I found is really tough to get that angle set perfectly. So what I did is I got 2 halves glued up, and then I put it on there and machined both sides at the same time, and that way they're perfectly flat to join them together. And that worked out really well. I learned that from another guy online. This is just a shot of that 3D model. And here, this is it looked like my hand was in the way of and almost got hit. This is at 100 times speed, It's already been roughed out. I didn't get a lot of video of the roughing, but this is 100 times actual speed, and you can see it's going down and doing the smoothing portion of this. I got quite a bit of a video of doing this because I did it a few times, just trying. I didn't want to take off too much material at once and move the part or bust a bit, or I used a 1/2-inch bit just to kind of smooth it out with that larger radius with the round over bit 1/2 inch in diameter. It makes it fairly smooth, and so you can have quite a bit of not so much, not a little overlap is the way I should term that. So each pass is not too close to the last one. So it would take forever if I really set it down to get it perfectly smooth. But with the big bit, it makes up for it. You can do that. I was tempted after I did the roughing, and I set the overlap at a pretty wide space the first time I did it, and it was pretty pleasing looking with that wide overlap with the round over bit. So I'd asked the end user, the customer, if he would like it rough like that, and it didn't sound like he was too enthused about it. So I went ahead and smoothed it out. But it was one. These are the roughing images, what it looked like with the end mill, and then the next pass was a kind of a wide overlap, smooth finish. But these are all the rough end mill cut. So this is kind of how you hog out the material. And it had some interesting. You could start to see it, what it looked like. I was worried I hadn't cut it deep enough. And then this is that rough finish with the wide overlap, and I thought that looked pretty cool. But it would have been heck to sand out. So I wasn't sure what finish he was going to put on it if he wanted that serration look to it. But I ended up making it smoother. And this is the smooth final. It's kind of tough to see a lot of that detail, the splines and lofted edges and things like that. But once you get it in the light, you can finally see it here. So the artist here is Matt Bishop. He had originally done this painting on a motorcycle tank years ago and always wanted to give it another go. And this was a fantastic image. He just knocked it out of the park. I believe he is going to have this frame in black and then gold gild the inner ring of it, kind of a black hole sun image. But I'll post links to his site. I believe he's on Instagram and Facebook, so I'll post some links to it so we can see it, how it turns out once you get it all finished out. Well, that's all I got. Just thought well, I guess if you ever need a sun-shaped Medusa picture frame, I know a guy looking for my next project. Jampaw out.